I'm about that. Cause I'm about that.
Days, Catwoman.
Folks, that is Andre's Pop Culture Guy's ex-wife.
No,
Right
that's
there.
Jeff's ex-wife. See, that's why Jeff's showing that that's his actual wife.
My God. No, that's your intro music, sir. Remember? Anyways, folks, the MCU'S Bleeding Edge report in the house, because it is Monday. And then we are, of course, a subsidiary of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. We are the only titled show of our 3 weekly shows here on Monday nights, the MCU'S Bleeding Edge report. Our special guest co-host happens to be Mr. Andre's Pop Culture Guy over there to the what would be, I guess, the right of me for you, folks out there in the audience and whatnot, everything who are just starting to come in to check us out. What's up, folks? How you doing? Good to see you.
Right,
I
think I'm the left, and you're the right. I think.
Well, I'm saying from their perspective, like, wouldn't you be on the right?
I think
you're the
so.
right. You're the right of me. I don't know. Somebody.
Yeah. You moved, Jeff.
Now my shit's fucking up. Oh man. Anyways, folks, somebody out there, let us know if whatever, however you're watching, if you see Andre to the left of me or the right of me. He's the more attractive guy out of the two of us, with the orange background, and the big smile because he's so happy because he's not with his ex-wife anymore. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you saw her earlier.
That's Jeff, folks. That's Jeff. He's jealous.
You can see why.
I have my other Isaiah companion.
You can see how somebody would be purpose smile when they got divorced from her. But anyways, folks, I of course am humbled to be TrueKnowledge, Jeff S, aka the creator and co-host of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge channel podcast. And this microphone shit is starting to fucking piss me off. With some ones who live Walking Dead finale action, and then we've got some X-Men 97 episode 2 action that we're going to bust off. And we've got Jacob from Society Reviews podcast on YouTube channel coming on for the latter half of the show. I'm sorry about my technical audio issues, but this is a different microphone than I usually use, and kind of a different setup than I'm used to. So if I go in and out a little bit for a minute, I apologize. I blame Andres personally, but that's just me. So, Andres, what do you think, brother? The burning question out there must be, I think, in like the Walking Dead fandom folks, right? We'll address to all of you out there first. Is there even going to be a season 2 now after the finale? Well, let's not even worry about the review of the episode yet. Do you honestly even think there'll be a season 2 now?
Yeah, I was thinking about that before we came on. It could go either way. If they want to stop at this point, then that's good. And if they have more stories to tell, they can do it. I think they have a lot of leeway to do it.
They'll ask Andrew and Danny to come back and do another season, right? I'm saying it'll boil down to them, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's really up to the actors if they're willing to go back.
And what Gimple comes at them and whatnot, everything for a story.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, as you said before, just right now, like if the showrunner comes to them, he has a good story that continues from the first season, then they probably will be up for that because, them and they love each other as actors. And so I could see that. And plus, I mean, like,
if they get to continue to executive produce and whatnot and everything too, I imagine that they, you know what I'm saying, like, that they probably enjoy having those roles.
Yeah, exactly. And so if they continue what they did this season, executive producing, story writing, like Diane did in episode 4, like I think Andrew can do it. Like Andrew can probably write an episode for maybe next season 2 if he's allowed to, which is good. I think it could be a possibility of season 2.
I think she spoke out and said she wanted to write episode 4. I think that's why that happened. I'm not sure, but I believe honestly, and again, folks, those out there that are catching us live right now on Rumble, X, Twitter, Facebook Live, our Facebook, all coming off our Facebook page. here on YouTube and whatnot, everything. We appreciate all of you. If anybody knows more about this, please don't feel like, you can't, correct us or straighten us out on this. But from what I understand, if I remember correctly, I think that Gimble didn't go to her and say, hey, why don't you write episode 4? In the creative process, I think she stood up and said, I should write, I'd like to write this episode. Right. You know what I'm saying? Since it's from my, sort of from my character, it's really my character that is like the key figure in it and whatnot, everything. It might as well be me.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I agree. I mean, I like episode 4, and I think that what she did was really good because it helped push Rick to like actually give up the whole CRM thing and whatnot, like actually come back to the kids and all that.
Sure, because they're actors. I mean, they're not writers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but I mean, honestly, there's probably some actors and actresses and whatnot that probably wouldn't want to write. You know what I'm saying? If you asked them to, you know what I mean? They probably would rather just do their job. Yeah.
Well, and mind, usually when actors want to get involved, they usually do directing. So this is the first time I seen
the writing is told. Yeah, that's very unique.
Yeah, and I seen a few that happen with actors.
I was gonna say, Cyber would know better than I would, but because he's seen so many more movies than I have. My memory can be kind of shitty sometimes. There has been actors and actresses out there, whatnot, before in the past. We both know of them that have written movies and whatnot. Look at Affleck and fucking Matt Damon.
Yeah, and those two are the biggest writers. I mean, they have an Oscar. People don't know this. They are Oscar winners from Good Will Hunting.
1997.
Yeah, they won that. Recently, who was it? I mean,
that movie won several Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, it got Robin Williams his Best Supporting Actor. That year, which was great. I love that performance.
He earned it too. Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. We'll have to add that to our movie review roster.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
What did you think, sir? Did I even tell you that we're going to cover that? That I decided that I made my picks already for later on this year, and that I picked the 4 Matrix films, the Lord of the Rings, and the Nolan trilogy to do on my end.
Well, I will take the Nolan trilogy because I'm a Batman fan, so that's going to be fun.
Oh, you don't like the Matrix?
I mean,
it's the 25th anniversary, bitch, or whatever, isn't it?
The first one, yes. The first one, I love the first one. It's a great film. It's just the sequels I have problem with. I mean, I haven't seen.
We're reviewing the first one in May.
Well, good. I mean, the first one is a classic. I mean, my parents.
We're gonna do the Lord of the Rings in the middle, in the sandwich, in between the Nolan Batman and the Matrix.
It is good to do the Dark Matrix.
I've got Cyber's picks too, all the way out to like June. I haven't written down. I don't have them in front of me.
Oh, what's his picks?
I don't have them in front of me because my stupid scheduling book that I had only ran through June, right? So I had to buy a new book that was for the whole year, right?
Yeah.
And that when I ran out of space in my scheduling book, I went in my room and I wrote on my calendar. I wrote the movies down, so they're all in there. Well, but wait till we get done with the show. I'll get my scheduling book out and whatnot and show you what I have for him.
Yeah, but no worries.
We got that coming up. But no, go ahead and finish what you're going to say about my initial question.
Yeah. So for potential season 2, the thing that I think I'll be excited to see season 2 is seeing Rick and the family, like seeing them as a family to surviving the apocalypse and face maybe a comic book villain that maybe isn't adapted from the Walking Dead comics yet. Like, you can still do that because, I mean, it's been many years with the comic books that they haven't yet adapted any particular story arc that they couldn't do with the original series that they may be able to adapt now with this series, maybe, because that's something they can do now with these spin-offs. It's like, oh, let's take this arc from the was it Robert Kirkman's original run and put it in this spin-off and change it up and make it maybe different and maybe better than the comic run. So they could do that. And plus seeing more character development with the kids, with now Rick being in the picture, is really cool and fascinating because Rick has missed so many years with them. He spent a little time with Judith, but not the son. So how the son, like compared to Carl, his first son, our boy Carl, is how different they are as like a father-son duo. I want to see more of that. So I'm fine with having another season, but I just want them to take their time, develop a story that's actually worthy of a season 2. Because
if they do another season, it won't come out as quickly as Dead City or Daryl Dixon will.
no,
It'll be way down the road. Like we're talking like probably like 2026 or something like that before we get like another season. But if we do it, honestly, I don't think they'll do another season. I think the finale was the wrap up of their story, and I think that if anything, I don't believe that AMC will be content, or like Kirkman and the rest of the team and whatnot. Everything. I don't think that they'll be happy with just the 2 series, Dead City and Daryl Dixon, right? And I think they'll probably just do another show, another spinoff with different characters.
Yeah, I mean, look, they still have plenty of characters that we like. I mean, like they can go back to
oh yes, they have a lot to choose from.
Yeah, like Father Gabriel, that's a character you can spin off and see, like, because the fact that we saw
they could even go back and use characters that are dead and bring them back to life and do like prequel shit if they wanted to.
That's a good point.
Think about it.
That's true. Yeah, that would be so cool. Like Negan.
Honestly, why not? Why not? You know what I'm saying? Like why not?
See, they need to. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like Morgan.
No.
Like I think Morgan needs like a spinoff because like I get he was in the Fear of the Walking Dead, but there's a gap that's between season 3 and 5 where he he got trained to be a awesome fire master, and then before he meets up with Rick and everyone from that the community that they landed for a couple of years.
You and that one YouTuber always want fucking Morgan to come back.
Yeah, well, I mean, I look, I look different. Morgan is my.
I like Morgan too. I'm telling you right now, I like Morgan. Honestly, the use of Father Gabriel in episode 5 was a genius move.
Yeah, I was happy they did that because I mean, he's a great character. I just love him and he's a great actor. And but yeah, I mean, I love Morgan. I just think he's a great character, and I do want him to be renewed with the other characters like Rick. Like that could be another awesome thing to do in this show. I just there's so many characters. I'm trying to think who else they can do a spin-off. Like
the fans that want to see these series interconnected and whatnot and everything. Honestly, for a while there, we've talked before in the past when we covered Dead City and Daryl Dixon, right? We thought they might do that. They're not going to do that. That's not going to happen.
No,
it's pie in the sky thinking that they're going to actually like have Rick interact with any of those other characters. It's not going to happen. It makes no sense.
No, and to be honest,
that finale felt like the end.
Yeah, it felt like the end for those 2 characters. And
I'm realizing it now as we're talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I just watched the episode 2 hours ago, or whatever, whatnot. Right? I really
2 hours.
I barely even let it soak in. Right? So like I'm just thinking about it right now. That was the end.
Yeah,
there's not going to be a second season.
No. I mean, like if they
what else was there to do? And honestly, I can't believe they actually ended the CRM storyline that quickly like that. I did not expect that. Holy fuck. That one YouTuber I'm talking about, that guy that I like his videos for like background info and whatnot. I've sent you the videos before, right? Yeah. I think he does a good job doing trailer breakdowns and shit like that and whatnot. He didn't like the finale at all, right?
Oh, really?
Like he thought it was not good. He gave it like a 5 rating out of 10. And said that like he thought Daryl Dixon was better. The Daryl Dixon series was better than Rick and Michonne, The Ones Who Live, and that the finale in the episode 5 and episode 6 of Daryl Dixon were like OP compared to like Rick and Michonne. He thought that the way that they ended it with the CRM, the storyline was a joke. That they had they could have extended that shit for like another 2 seasons if they wanted to. And he couldn't believe that they killed off what's his name, the main villain guy just killed him off. Beale,
yeah, Jonathan Beale, yeah.
I couldn't believe it either.
Yeah. Well, okay. There's a lot.
I'll give him. I agree with him on that. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised, but I mean that's typical Walking Dead. They surprise us with so many of their deaths, and
And the CRM is that big. They did, and so now they're just like done because they blew up those people. Like,
I mean,
and how the fuck did Rick explode that grenade like that and survive?
Okay, that part I did laugh at that part. I was like, how did he? I mean, they were on top of him. How did he survive from that explosion? I do agree.
How do you explode a fucking grenade in your hand or whatnot and shit and everything and whatnot and just walk away like just like shook up a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know how powerful those like those grenades are.
Fucking grenade, bro.
Well, they look different. Like they're not your traditional like grenade because it like you got the green like looking grenade that is
this ain't Halo, motherfucker. All right.
Okay, first off, sir, Halo is in sci-fi.
There's no different
Whoa.
different types of grenades and shit in the fucking Walking Dead fucking spin-off universe, motherfucker.
Whoa. Sir, their grenades were black, and they were black-looking things that were different from the ones that we usually see.
Why you got to get racial, sir?
It's not racial. I'm just telling you, there's different grenades in our universe, in our real life.
Why does everything gotta be black and white with you, sir?
No. Talk to the head now, sir. This is folks. Don't listen to him. This is not racial. I'm just getting the facts here that there's different types of grenades that we use in real life. We got the green ones. They're definitely the stronger one, and then these black ones are a little bit different. I just don't know the full detail of that.
But that wasn't like a concussive grenade.
No,
like that wasn't a specialty grenade or whatnot, like a tactical grenade. That was a grenade. It exploded the walkers.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just shocked because they usually do such a good job of like not overdoing it like that, whatnot, everything with the stupid like shit that makes no sense. That was just like caught me off guard.
Yeah,
I wanted to jump in the Walking Dead chat that I'm in and be like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? How the fuck did Rick survive that shit?
I was surprised he didn't get bite. That's my thing. I'm like, how he
for real? He had like all of them right on him and shit.
Yeah, see, that was my problem. It's like he has one hand. He's a one hand like person. He doesn't have both hands now. So
I know Rick's like he's fighting walkers hand to hand and shit, whatnot now.
Like he left his robotic, whatever blade arm he left. And
why would he leave that too? Why would he leave that? He has a fucking he cut off his arm and shit whatnot. That's his prosthetic. Who the fuck forgets their prosthetic?
I don't know. Maybe it's symbolic. Like he's leaving like that.
Well, yeah, it had to be there so that fucking what's her name could see it.
Yeah, that's very true. Thorn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it had to be there for Thorn.
Yeah, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Let me like we're getting into the finish.
I'm not trying. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm not trying to put the episode down. Or that. You know what I'm saying? Like we just got done to start talking about it. And I was asking you about season 2.
Yeah.
And whatnot, everything, because I do think it's an interesting conversation. I think in the fandom right now, that's the big question, right? It's like, for the ones in it that like are in the know, kind of like sort of, you know what I'm saying, whatnot, and have the foresight, you know what I mean? Like kind of like we do, you know what I'm saying? People, I just want to put it out there, folks. Andres and I aren't experts when it comes to any of this stuff and whatnot, right? But at the same time, though, we put a lot of time and effort into like talking about this stuff, like these TV series and whatnot, right? Like we don't just watch this shit one time or whatever, whatnot, and then come on here and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's all the time we devote to like these kind of conversations. It don't work that way. I'm not trying to go on and on about it, but I'm just saying we watch a lot of like, research videos and whatnot. We read articles. Like we try to stay in the know of what's going on with the other spinoff series and whatnot, shit like that and whatnot. We keep each other aware of what's happening in the behind the scenes and whatnot with the productions and stuff and whatnot, so that we're up to date and we can talk about this stuff and present it to you and try to be factual and whatnot, right? And try to be entertaining. At that point, our opinion is valuable, like, you know what I'm saying? And like going to be more probably valuable than just anybody who watches the show. So when I talk about foresight, that's what I'm saying. Is it's like if you're just a diehard Walking Dead fan, of course you're just assuming they're going to make another season because it's like, oh, it's Rick and Michonne. Of course there'll be a season 2, but that didn't feel like episode setting up another season.
No, and I think that's maybe the expectation that I think you should like lower your expectation when you see this episode.
I mean, this finale, you knew you were going to get a second season,
and they did that well, and they gave us a post-credit scene of Carol because that was the thing we were talking about, where we're going to see Carol. Like, are they going to set up Carol for the next season? And we got that payoff so well. And then here, it's completely different. They're telling us clearly that this is going to be a one and done thing. And so,
yes,
I just,
and don't get me wrong, we both know, right, that AMC's done a good job of not talking about doing second seasons of any of these shows so far, right, until after the finales come out, right, because they want to maximize audience interest. You know what I'm saying? Whatnot, and buzz, right? So they want people as many people with eyes to watch this shit as possible. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, Jeff, you brought up a good point. That's something I actually like about the AMC and this team doing, because something I don't like about the Disney Plus shows currently, they always announce before the show airs that they're going to get additional seasons. We know that X-Men 97 is renewed for a second season. And then recently, I don't know, you knew this.
They're already in pre-production. They're already on pre-production for the third season of X-Men 97.
Right. And I'm just
because they're trying to switch over to animated over live action. You know that we've talked about that before. Yeah, we haven't gotten into it heavy, but we've heard that news from Iger. Right. They want to switch over to more animated shows, right, on Disney Plus with the Marvel, not live action, because that's where all the money goes, is live action.
Yeah, which would make sense. I mean, you're saving costs and all that. And
it's cost cutting. Yeah, they want to put, but they still want to put content out, but they'd rather have it be animated.
Yeah, which makes sense, and also fits their brand. Like, you think about Disney, they're the king of animation. I mean, they're the ones. If you know your history of where animation started from, they're the ones that pioneered the idea of feature-length animation film, folks.
Clearly, they believe that their money's better spent in that direction.
Yeah, and I completely agree, because there's great animation shows that they did that I love, but I'm not gonna bring it up.
No, we'll talk about it later when Jacob comes on. But go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah. Let me wrap up. I'm sorry, Jeff, but that's the example where I think it's good that NEC don't announce the second season or like the initial season yet, because you want to be excited for the next chapter. And, is this a potential to continue on forward, instead of this, because you don't want to risk the problem where, when you announce it, the next seasons, and then all of a sudden when we get to it, it doesn't live up to the expectation of the last season. So you cannot do that, because then that's when your show gets in trouble. That's what happened with the Disney Plus shows and other shows in general. So it's good that The Walking Dead hasn't done that. It's been good of like, okay, we'll wait, see if people like the show, we'll green like it, and think.
But we knew in Dead City, in episode 5, they were doing a second season. It was obvious. Oh, yeah, remember how bad the episode? Remember that was the episode where it was like the episode was terrible. Like the story. I mean, I don't want to get into that. Like, we're going to talk about Dead City and Daryl Dixon in a minute. But I'm trying to look. Oh, what's up? Hey, Cyber. What's going on? We didn't know who the fuck you were.
Yeah, Saber. Sometimes Saber, we don't know it's you. You're ashamed to not tell us.
Cyber, you sneaky motherfucker, coming in here just as Facebook user and shit, whatnot. What does this see? Is this the Facebook account you use for your OnlyFans consumption or some shit? Yeah,
or he doesn't want to know. He doesn't want no one knows that's him.
He wants to be anonymous. He doesn't want to be associated with the MCU'S Bleeding Edge report with Andre's pop culture guy, special guest co-host, and Jeff has TrueKnowledge. Only on Wednesdays and Fridays does you want to be Cyberneticshark.
Yeah. Don't be ashamed, Cyber.
Yeah, it's okay, Cyber. I don't blame you. You know what I'm saying?
Saying that Facebook's fault.
If I was the co-host of some dude that's engaged to Zool or whatever, whatnot, you know what I'm saying? and hangs out with Sean Connery, I probably would do the same thing.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Did you see that shit? Did you see that shit in the private chat or in the Facebook chat about the chick that I'm talking to on POF?
Oh, okay. I saw a little. I was looking at because I was talking to someone in the chat and not in that chat, but I was talking to someone in the Facebook Messenger, and I saw your comment about that. And I was like, Sean Connery. You know what's funny? Speaking of my mom brought up the bad guy that got killed in this episode. She made like a comment that he looks like Sean Connery. Was it the channel?
Oh, Beal? Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
Beal.
he does a little bit.
Yeah, so it's very funny that Sean Connery is bringing up or is coming into this.
They're both Irish, I think.
Oh no, I mean Terry. He's actually American. He looks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's American. Yeah.
What's his last name? What?
He's Terry O'Quinn.
Quinn. That's Irish. He's Irish.
Really? Hold on, let me check.
Yeah. Quinn. Come on, Andres. Quinn.
Yes. He is. So he's of Irish descent, and he was raised as Catholic. Oh, that makes sense. Huh.
Hello, Facebook user number 2.
Hello. Who's this person? We need to guess who's this Facebook user. Andreas, how you been watching Shogun with us? Yes, I've been reviewing Shogun since episode 2, sir. How dare you? TV Wednesday.
Hold on, be nice. It's Jasmine.
Oh, Jasmine.
Mr. Rathacon. Mr. Rathacon, sir.
By the way, great show on Saturday.
Oh, you caught some of it?
Yeah, I saw a bit of the live stream.
We pulled a really nice audience on Saturday.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we did.
Hello, Jasmine. Hey, buddy. I'm sorry I wasn't there. On Saturday, but I'm in the
He's
panel.
busy. Jasmine knows that you got a new job and everything and whatnot and all that and everything and whatnot. But yeah, Jasmine, Andres has done all the Shogun reviews I think with us except one. So he knows. He knows what's going on with Shogun. He knows how good it is. Little shameless plug, folks. We're reviewing Mr. Andres Pop Culture Guy, and myself and Cyberneticshark are reviewing Shogun Part 6 on Wednesday. I'm moderating, and I think I'm right. Cyber, I'm moderating, aren't I? I think it's my week to do. Did I do Shogun? Did I moderate Shogun last week?
Yeah. Wait. Hold on. Yeah, last week you did it.
Because I'm moderating Magnolia on Friday.
I'm trying to remember. No, because Cyber didn't do Shogun episode 5. You did it.
I'll look later.
Yeah, look later.
Go ahead. You can answer him.
Well, all right, Jasmine. Yes, I mean, if we're talking about episode 4, but they were having their thing. Yes, it was really beautiful.
Pillow time.
Yeah, pillow time. It was wonderful and very satisfying because
Rick and Michelle were pillowing throughout the episode. Episode 6, they were pillowing.
I was laughing so hard about that. I was like the candles and like you see the
Rick's on top of her like missionary, and they're like talking and having a conversation.
Yeah,
and they're going back to it.
Oh my god,
the episode was really well done.
Yeah,
right. The way that they mixed in the flashbacks. Hats off to you, AMC Studios. Great move. You use Father Gabriel to fucking get people to want to go back and watch the original Walking Dead by so using them so well with Jadis in episode 5, right? Then you incorporate Jadis into the damn series the way you do, whatnot, everything. Such a good move, making people want to go watch the old show even more, right? Yeah. No more reasons. And then you have a finale where you have montages of Rick's and Michonne's best kills from the original series throughout the episode. And like, it's genius. Because it's fan service all day long for the Walking Dead diehards that watch the whole series all the way through. For them, it's like pure fan service, right? And then on top of that, too, right? And then I'll go to you, Andres. On top of that, it gives all the general audience viewership motherfuckers out there, right? Like me and Andres that didn't watch Walking Dead all the way through and just started watching Dead City and Daryl Dixon and maybe somebody just started with Rick and Michonne. right, or whatever, it makes them want to renew or keep their fucking AMC Plus subscription for Daryl Dixon, right, and watch The Walking Dead because they're going to want to watch the original show after watching that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I agreed. Well, and plus, one thing,
right?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I appreciate they actually listen to us and like they're giving us what we want from Walking Dead. You know?
AMC Plus watches our show, brother.
Oh yeah, they probably watch our show every day. They enjoy and our insightful opinions about the show and Dead City and Daryl Dixon.
They decided to do Daryl Dixon first this year instead of Dead City because of me and you. Because what we said about this, they were like, when we said Dead City was fucking dog shit or whatever. Now they're like, oh shit, we better fucking go back and rewrite that shit.
Yeah, and they're gonna do is like, okay, we need to cut out.
Those guys said Daryl Dixon was good, so we better go ahead and fast track that shit.
Yeah, fast tracked it. Yeah, and
some drunk guy and some motherfucking guy named Time Cop said that we should fucking we should scrap Ginny.
Yeah, scrap Ginny. You took that right in my mouth. Take out Ginny, please.
You know what the problem was with the first season of Dead City? They gave Jenny an executive producer role, and Jenny wrote some of the episodes of Dead City. That's what happened.
Ooh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why it's so bad. the last 3 episodes.
Yep.
Some kid wrote it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Oh my god! Oh, I just love your bashing Dead City. I'm so sorry. It's just still funny today. So
I just get pissed off because of these people. I'm telling you, man, these people that don't get that Dead City's not good. It's not better than Daryl Dixon. It drives me crazy. No.
I don't look.
Like all you gotta do is just like go over the internet and Google it, and you'll see that like if you just Google like is Daryl Dixon better than Dead City, you'll get like article after article that says flat out right that Daryl Dixon is one of the most highly acclaimed, well reviewed like AMC fucking series ever done.
Yeah, and the most reviewed, right? Like the most reviewed,
most well reviewed. Yep, since the original Walking Dead or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like, come on. It's like
Dead City has better Rotten Tomatoes numbers than Daryl Dixon does, but who gives a fuck about the Rotten Tomatoes? Seriously.
Yeah. You just need to listen to what the fandom think.
All the Rotten Tomatoes is for is just to be a talking point for people like us.
Yeah. I mean, universally, if you talk to me, Jeff, and the whole fandom, we all love Daryl Dixon. It's great. I mean, now that we got the ones who live, it's going to be a debate which one is the best. But it's just really up to you.
Yeah, no, I respect it. If you like Dead City, good for you, right? Yeah. Honestly, I'm happy for you. But I'm sorry if you don't get that if you honestly believe that Daryl Dixon had a bad story or whatnot, right? Like, or that somehow it didn't have good secondary characters or something like that, and you think Dead City did, then like seriously, you just don't know what you're talking about. I'm putting it out there right now to all of you in the private chat from like the Walking Dead shit and all that. I'm talking to you. Right, straight up. Like this is your moment to like jump in right now and actually say the shit you want to say to me. I'm giving you that chance right now. Like, you know, the ones that you know I'm talking to right now. I know you all are out there, the ones that I've been fighting with and shit about this. Well, guess what? Dead City is fucking dog shit. Okay? The first episode or 2 were okay. But after that, it was garbage. That's why the fucking Daryl Dixon is coming out this year first, not Dead City.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. You're just everything. You're right. What you say, Jeff? It's like, come on.
No, I mean, I get it. We all have a different lens with how we view stuff, right? And I didn't watch The Walking Dead all the way through.
Yeah, and let's be honest here. I can understand that you like the characters. Let's be honest here. You got Negan and Maggie that are, they're Walking Dead legacy characters that we like and love.
Of course, that's why they made the show with them.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand you guys like the show, but it doesn't mean you have to be this aggressive to say that it's a better show. It's like, look, it's the weakest of these legacies.
Yeah, like, you look silly. You know what I'm saying? Like, say you like it, that's fine, but don't tell me that Daryl Dixon had no story.
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
And the writing in Daryl Dixon was on such a higher level than fucking Dead City. It's not even close.
Yeah,
there's a reason. They're going to revamp the whole show. I'm telling you. Wait till Dead City season 2 comes out. with honestly, the secondary characters we had in season 1 that are still left either won't be back or they'll kill them.
Yeah, or like just replace them with newer characters, which is fine. Yeah, and plus they're taking their time, which is good. They can make a better season if they take their time. What didn't work from the first season, they can fix it and they can make it better. So
they need to move away. For once, they need to move away from the original show. So nobody gives a shit about fucking Glenn and Baggy's kid, right? Like nobody cares. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
unless you're like a diehard Walking Dead fan,
yeah,
or whatnot, right? And you're still obsessed, and you're still rewatching fucking like the first couple seasons of The Walking Dead right now. Like you can't even get over it or whatever, whatnot. That's the only reason why.
Yeah. I mean, that's very funny because I don't know if you care about Judas and Rick's son, but like,
oh yeah, I cried a little bit whatnot.
Yeah, I saw your chat. I saw your chat about that. And
I did.
Yeah, and see, I care.
I was already emotional from watching X-Men episode 2. You know what I'm saying? Whatnot. So then I saw that and I was just like, oh man.
Oh my god, episode 2. Oh, kill me. Anyway, we'll get to that. That comes later, as Bane say. So overall, let me say this. I love this finale. I think this show is a really great spin-off show. I think I'll put this as number 2 after Daryl Dixon. I still love Daryl because I really enjoyed the new setting in French. I really enjoyed the secondary characters, but the ones who live did such a good job of being this one single story that wraps up all his story in such a good bow. Now we can talk about there's some flaws to that. Like I do agree with you, Jeff, that the CRM thing was very quick to get rid of. But at the same time, it was a necessary thing. If you're not gonna get tuned on with that, that's fine. And also, if you're like a Walking Dead fan like myself, it's not the first time they did that. They did that with that Camelos, the Camelism group in season 5. That was like a quick story, like they just finish off in just few episodes. So this was nothing new for me. That the fact that they wrapped up the whole thing. So don't be surprised at that. It's like they wrapped up. It's nothing new in the Walking Dead. They wrapped up so many.
Yeah, but don't you think that they kind of set us up in a little bit in a way by like doing second seasons of Dead City and Daryl Dixon? They set us up to imagine and think through episode 5 that was the direction we were heading, right? Well, like in a way. So this was kind of shocking a little bit, like that. Like I mean, because don't get me wrong, great episodes. This was great, right? Like, but still, they pushed through a lot in those 55 minutes or whatever the fuck it was, right? Like they ran right through the whole story.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so like I just don't know if that was a fair move to treat the CRM storyline like that way. I don't know that was well done at all. That's definitely I'm gonna deduct points on my rating off because of that.
Okay. No, I understand. For me, that was a big question for me. We discussed this a little bit in our previous episodes. Like how interconnected we're going to deal with the Walking Dead series with the CRM, and the thing was, I never believed that they were not going to do like a interconnected crossover really. And
well, they're doing like Easter egg speech slip service stuff, like Beale talking about the test subjects Walker stuff and whatnot. Like, can I think it to Daryl Dixon like he did?
Yeah.
But that's but again, that's just fan service.
Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't that surprised, and I wasn't really bugged about that really, because if you're not gonna do this like interconnected Walking Dead universe, just want to keep it standalone, like you want to keep it standalone, but we do acknowledge that the stuff that's happening in the spin-offs is happening. Okay, I like that. Then that's fine.
That's the MCU. That's the curse of the MCU, where like because of the MCU now, everybody wants to see everything interconnected.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I agree with Jeff. It's an expectation now. Yeah, exactly. So
almost, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, isn't it, that we expect it like that? We do. We expect this. A lot of us, especially those of us in the fandoms, we expect every IP and like every. Right? Every TV show that we're into or whatever movie shit, when they do sequels or they do spin-off, we expect it to connect.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's very funny. Like we had that, but I mean,
It's funny how the MCU has infected the entertainment industry like that, the whole like TV and film industry that way. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I mean, but I mean, you can understand. 15,
even people who aren't MCU fans are still affected by it, right? Like,
of course. I mean, 15 years they've been like they virtualized the whole like storytelling of interconnected in such a big way.
Oh yeah, if you polled people overall, I guarantee you, like probably over 50% of every 10 people that you would poll have seen an Avengers movie.
Exactly, and that's a big impressive thing. And look, I understand because like here's the thing: before we got these spin-offs, the previous spin-offs of The Walking Dead were never connected to the legacy characters. The fact that Dead City, Daryl, and this show,
you're right. They were all new characters and then until they took Morgan and put Morgan on Fear of Walking Dead.
Fear of Walking Dead, and we started to do more of that, and
then they did CRM too, also in Fear, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, yes, that's where.
Or was that the other spinoff?
No. That's where it appeared in the World Beyond the CRM. That was the first appear, I think.
World Beyond.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
But yeah, and I understand that. But as a person like myself, as an old fashioned, I'm finely interconnected, but at the same time, I do want standalone stories. Because if you do your interconnected, it just bogs down the storytelling a little too much, and it can hurt you. Like as we've seen.
But what happened between the time of like the fucking blowing up the CRM people and everything, and then them getting to Virginia or whatever, or getting back to Georgia or whatever, whatnot, right? Like, what the fuck happened during that? Like, I mean, how big of a time jump was that?
You know
what I'm saying? Like,
I don't want to talk about the time jumps. This show just drove me nuts with the time jumps. I don't want to think about it.
No, but that was intense though. They just went from that to that with the kids, right? Like, I'm surprised that they did it like that. I did not expect that at all. Did you? I expected that to be a whole nother season's worth of like traveling and shit and whatnot or whatever. You know what I'm saying? To get back to the kids and right, like more Rick and Michonne doing shit.
Yeah,
didn't you expect something like that to happen after? Like, I didn't expect the CRM to just get defeated.
Yeah, I mean, again,
what happened with them going to like Philadelphia and like letting them know about the CRM? We're not going to even find out what happened with that now.
Well, and then now the question is, it seemed like the General Beale, right? General Beale was the evil guy. Like this section was the corrupt CRM, where the other two were not corrupt. So
that's the way that Rick and Michonne made it sound like. Yes, but then like, it all went so quick.
Yeah, I don't know.
They really rushed things, didn't they?
Yeah, some aspects they rush. I will not give it certain aspects they didn't rush. I just think the CRM, that whole section, I agree it was rushed. But here's the thing. I maybe I'm a little biased here. Like for me, it's like if you're not gonna continue on with the story, then it was a necessary evil to to wrap up the CRM. Because if you didn't want to carry over from the other shows, then that's fine. I don't blame them.
I didn't like the way they handled Thorne's story arc, her character arc across the span of the series. I thought she was really a really strong character, secondary character, and they really did not service her character well in the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
They took her out of episode 4? They took her out completely.
Yeah.
Right?
Episode 5. She wasn't in episode 5 either.
No.
So she's been gone since episode 3, actually.
But she was strong in the beginning of the show.
Yeah. But then, I mean,
I wanted to see more of a payoff for her character. I really did.
Yeah. I just feel like I knew if they were going to go either way. Like, I brought this up in episode 2 or 3. You guys can rewatch episode 3 review. That I knew they were going to go either way. They will keep Thrawn to be the good ally for Rick when he comes back. If not, they were going to go the direction of making her be like a simul bad guy, in the future, and which they kind of did here, which it wasn't a surprise to me that they were making her bad because the fact that Rick was gone and then whoever the other person that tried to convince her and Rick to do the uprising in the CRM, she will be the one that lose hope to really do that because she became more so of the.
But they made her swing away from Okafor's dream so quick.
Yeah, I mean, and that's also the thing. The timeline is like how much time did pass, and it's like
like during the actual in between the episodes and all that shit, whatnot, and all that, and because I mean because we had that shit with Michonne and Rick, with Michonne where she was in that fucking mall for a year with Nat, right? A fucking whole year, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how long it's been since that like jump from the helicopter.
And how was Michonne able to just like walk into that one building from in the beginning of the episode and just walk right around and whatnot, everything, right? Like and use that walker to like jump on that building and shit and whatnot and everything. Like I'm sorry, but the more I look back at this now as we're talking about it, I'm just like, wait a minute, some of this stuff was just too convenient.
Yeah, I know. That was very funny. She was like super soldier, like Captain America or Black Panther. Excuse me.
When Rick got caught by that, and why did that one CRM soldier attack Rick just because there was blood coming out of that case? Why did he go after him just because there's blood? They live in the fucking Walking Dead universe. There's blood all the fucking time.
Yeah, I don't know. That was very funny. And then how could
for real? And then Rick smashes the fucking dude's face and shit and whatnot, even though he doesn't even have his fucking prosthetic anymore. What was he using?
Yeah, well, no, he still had his prosthetic. It was like afterwards he left it out. Actually,
What, he went back?
No, he had the prosthetic hand.
No, we saw it in the fucking in the what was it? Oh, was that just his knife thing?
Yeah,
in the room.
No. Remember, Thorne went to his room and she saw the arm, the blade arm in that room.
That was the room where Beale was talking to Rick. That wasn't Rick's room, was it?
No.
Wasn't that just like a conference room or something, or just like an office or something like that?
It was in a conference room. Actually, I need to rewatch
because I don't remember Rick having a desk in his room.
Oh man, I think I need to rewatch it. I'm sorry, I seen it 2 hours ago. I'm trying to remember.
That wasn't Rick's room. There was no bed in there or anything and whatnot. It was just an office.
Okay,
because when you see Beale and Rick fight, there's big windows there, and everything and whatnot, right? That's not Rick's room.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
That'd be they're in like a totally different part of the base than where Rick lives.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. You're right, because that was where Jadis was living, right? Because we saw Michonne ripping that letter that Jadis had, like the confession that she knew Rick. She knows the location of the Hanajo community, all that. Yeah, you're right. Oh my god, yeah, you're completely right. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just like, it was just the geographic from the building was just
and that was his prosthetic that what's her name saw. That's why I'm just saying, like,
Pearl,
I don't know.
Pearl.
Yeah, Pearl. That was his whole prosthetic.
Yeah.
He didn't go back and get it. So whatever so that wasn't just Rick's fist when he smashed that guy's face, was it?
No, I think that I need to watch that scene.
Yeah, I know he must have had something. He must have had something in his hand or something, because he smashed that whole dude's fucking skull in.
I don't know.
He beat the fuck out of that guy.
Yeah, he did, and he was a very gnarly zombie walker, which I have to say.
All right, we've got 10 minutes until Jacob comes on for S-Men 97. So we've got to let's do our ratings and do our final thoughts.
Yeah, I was watching the time. Yeah. Okay, you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll go first this time. And we'll do 1 to 10 on the rating. I'm gonna do a God, it's hard.
Yeah.
Tentatively, I guess if I had to throw out a rating, I would probably throw out a 7.25.
Wow.
That's what I'm going to go with, a 7.25, because I think that I think they rushed a lot in the finale. I think that not looking back now at the series, and we'll find time next Monday, folks. Just to be clear, those of you who are Walking Dead fans and maybe not so much the X-Men Marvel people, we'll find time next Monday to go back and recap the season of the ones who live, and do some compare and contrast to Dead City and Daryl Dixon a little bit more, like we've already been doing, because we don't really have as much time to work with, unfortunately, in our 1 hour here tonight, to really talk as much as we'd like about the finale and about the series. So we'll revisit it next week. We will. But basically, I'm just going to go with the 7.25 because I feel like there's some gaps in the episode where I don't like that time jump, right, from the whole like plot to take out the CRM, and then all of a sudden to them with the kids in Alexandria. I don't like that they went back to Alexandria and didn't show us any of the other characters, any of the other old characters and whatnot, too, along with the kids, right? Like, even if they you showed them walk in and like see somebody, right? Like, you know, to see like what, you know, I would like to have seen Alexandria again. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was a little bit rushed. They had to pay off the kids part. It had to happen, right? Like, and so that right there, that tells me there's no second season, straight up, because the fact that they went right to the kids and them going back to Alexandria, there's nothing left for their story to go with. That's it. Like they're not going to make it another season of them in Alexandria raising their kids. They're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. It's not the direction that they're going. That this show was meant to be. And I don't see Danny or Andrew signing up for that at all. And and I'll go to you after that. That's all I got. I just don't see them doing it. I don't think that they'll be turned on and like, oh yeah, like gung ho to jump in for that. That would be like them going back to the original series again.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a reason why they left that show.
Yeah, and other reasons, if you guys know. But anyway, no, I agree. Yeah, it's really tough. I'm gonna be the one with the higher rating, folks. I like this finale more. I'm a little more accepted that it's just gonna be a self-contained story, not gonna be a continuation like Daryl Dixon or Dead City. I will give it this finale. I will tell you right now, I'll give this whole series a 9 out of 10. I think it was a great series, but for this episode, I'll give it 8 out of 10. I think it was a good finale. Not perfect, but it was a really like I say, it was a very thrilling episode, like really action packed. It gave us the action, and you know the deaths of the walkers was really great. It paid off so many things with Rick and Michonne over the years, and you know gave us the reviewing that we deserved, which they did so well in this series. But it has some flaws, like you know rushing the stuff with the villains and the CRM. I agree with Jeff completely on that. But it doesn't detract my love for the series. So I'll give it 8 out of 10 for this episode. But the series is a 9 out of 10 for me because I love it. I really enjoy it.
I need more time to give a rating on the series. I'm not ready.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's better than Dead City. If you want to confirm, this is second after.
I got to think about it more and talk about it more with you or whatever next Monday or whatever, whatnot. You know, all we've got next Monday planned is the SMN 97 episode 3 anyway. And we're not going to we're not going to do a whole show just on that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's probably pop culture, fandom, you know, geeky news stuff for us to talk about too. You know what I'm saying? But I would like to go back and revisit this again. You know, honestly, I could have done the whole 2 hours tonight just on the finale.
Yeah, I know. There was a lot that we didn't discuss. I mean,
we will. We have time next week. Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And plus, by next week, we'll have a better idea about what AMC and what everyone from that side is saying about a second season.
Yeah,
this way we have some time, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. We'll hear more things what they had in mind with the show and all that, and see what's the future. And plus, we'll probably hear another spinoff. We don't know. Like, I mean, it's you know,
It wouldn't bother me at all if they went in that direction. That would not faze me. I would have no problem with that. If that's the end of the Rick and Michonne story right there, and that's that honestly, I don't think it would make us any sense to have a second season after the finale.
No,
It would,
was very.
it would actually it would be detrimental to the finale.
Yeah, I feel like this was a good closing chapter for these two characters that we love. And it just it doesn't make sense to continue on with it. I think they closed the book on Rick and Michonne, which is great.
I don't know why they didn't just say that this was it. Because they want to keep that speculation out there and whatnot, everything. Because they want, like I said, they want to keep people subscribed to AMC Plus.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know if the actors will change their mind. So I mean,
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm sure they've already been asked.
Yeah, they had to be asked. Let's be honest here. I mean, I was surprised that they came back anyway. So I'm very happy that we got this, this opportunity. So we should be very.
I wasn't surprised that they did Negan and Maggie and Daryl, but I was surprised with Rick and Michonne.
Yeah.
So, but then again, Gimple and AMC and whatnot, everything told us years ago they were going to do all the TV movies and all that shit, and the spinoffs and all that, right? Remember? And that Rick story wasn't finished, right? Yeah. So they had to pay that off. Yeah, they had to.
Exactly. So I was very happy to hear that they were going to do a TV show because a lot of people, I mean, folks, if you didn't know, I mean, initially it was supposed to be a television movie or in general a movie to follow up what happened to Rick.
Television movies. Yeah, that's how they were supposed to do it. It was supposed to be multiple movies. Remember?
Yeah, exactly. Multiple movies. I remember. Oh my God. Long time. I remember that they were talking
3-4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
when The Walking Dead was still on.
Yeah, it was before The Walking Dead ended. They were talking about it, and just it just didn't took until I think when they started doing the legacy spinoffs with the characters. I think that was where they were like, okay, we can convert this into like a mini series or whatnot. Which
next Monday we'll have time to digest it a little bit and whatnot, and we can float some ideas around, and we'll go back and forth on what characters we think they can bring back besides Morgan. For a series, right? Honestly, if they do another series, I don't think there's another character that they should go solo with. I think they should stick with I like the Maggie Negan dual character deal, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the right way to go is one character. Maybe it's too much to do two. Right, because you know what, you're right. We need to move on to S-Men 97 because Jacob is going to be on here in just a minute. Jacob, if you're watching, come on, brother. In fact, let me check my phone real quick. Let me go ahead and play something real quick and whatnot, everything as a little segue, just to give me and Andres a break, guys.
Yeah,
just to give us a respite real quick before we jump into S-Men 97 episode 2.
I really love that they bring back the human drivers from the TV show Agent Carter. James D'Arce, that's his last name. He played the human Jarvis in Agent Carter. If you guys didn't see that first 2 seasons, that was really great. I really love that they canonicized that show. So that gives me heart. They confirmed that. So something those. Oh my God! Thank goodness I didn't read that.
Whatever it takes, baby.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. I really dug that we saw the Ant-Man helmet from the classic.
All right, let me let Jacob out here real quick. Andres, what's up, bro? Oh, I thought you were going blackface there for a minute. What's up, Jacob?
What up? What up? What's going on?
Hey
I'm
man,
sorry.
sorry about that, folks. We had to stick. We've had Jacob down there in the bottom of the studio on StreamYard this whole time. He's just been hanging out down there, wanting to come in, and I just left him hanging for like an hour.
I fell asleep, got a good nap in,
Yeah.
and then it's like went and fixed me something to eat, took a shower, walked the
Yeah.
dog, Jojo around the block a few times. Then I came back and I found out there was like still 30 minutes left in the conversation. So
he's like, what are these guys talking about? What's this shit about Rick and Michonne having sex and fucking killing Beal and
Dude,
whatnot? And
so I wanted to touch up on just real quick before we jump into the X-Men. It's like, look, I've been watching Walking Dead for quite some time. I got in right around because I was here in Atlanta when they filmed, like they started filming the show. This is going back what now, like 15 years ago or something like that. So I was watching the show for a while. And I think everyone thinks that the peak of this show was probably like around the whole like Negan situation when he was first introduced. I remember that episode getting somewhere like 17 million viewers on television when that happened.
That's when the big shift happened. Was when the end of season 7 or whatever, when Negan kills Glenn and all that and whatnot.
Yeah,
that's when the biggest wave of the Walking Dead fandom that left.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because over the course of the next few years, like, this show lost essentially roughly 15 million people in a very quick short period of time. So then all of a sudden I go back into it maybe about a couple of years ago because I realized the show was still on, like it's still going, and I'm like, how does a show lose like 16 million viewers and it's just still going? So I see the end, the way that they wrap things up, and it was like, okay, that's fair enough, the way that things end. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, remember all those spin-off movies and television shows that we were telling you about like 10 years ago we were working on? Well, now they're finally here. So it's like they've ended the mainline series. Now everyone's just getting like their own like spin-off series. It just gets to a point where it's like, well, when are you guys gonna realize that this is like done? Like when are you guys gonna realize that this is probably a good tap out point?
I mean, as we were talking about just before, Jacob, before we get into X-Men 97 episode 2, we enjoyed Daryl Dixon. You know, that was pretty solid. Yeah. We reviewed that very highly. Just like most people that reviewed it very highly, like, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot. It was very critically acclaimed. And it was well done, well written. The Rick and Michonne show wasn't bad. We enjoyed it. We've given it high rankings, right, Andres? Pretty much all throughout the series. We just had some gripes with the finale. They rushed the story a lot. You know what I'm saying? And whatnot. Like the jump from episodes 1 through 5 to the finale, there was a big leap in the story, like just massive jump. And they took all these plot lines and storylines and whatnot that were really interesting, right? That built a lot of tension in the show and just ended them in like this really like quick, you know, like half the finale, like bam. So it's just a lot to take. But I'll tell you, as a starting off question, just like I did last week when we did X-Men 97, episode 1, I'll ask you first, Jacob, and then I'll go to you, Andres. What do you think of the new X-Men animated intro?
Obviously, it's playing up a lot towards, you know, the old school intro that everyone knows and loves. Obviously, the theme is there, a very similar riff. And it's weird because when I look at this, like, I can't shake the feeling. I know I'm not the first person to have said this, but the animation style of this show is very, very similar to Archer for me. So even though I know they're trying to go off of, you know, that nostalgia from 30 years ago at this point, everything just feels like this is like a modern day like Archer take on Marvel essentially.
Andres.
Yeah. So I think so far well, first off, we got the McNeil part of the secret, which was really awesome to see. And it's cool to see the new costume and then see him form the X in that big metal bar thing, which was really cool. The titles is still awesome. I really enjoy it. I don't want to jump too forward with the episodes later, but like it's cool that they're like recapping moments of these characters. Like it was cool to see the Astro M part of McNeil that you didn't see season 4, you know, that he built Astro M and that was going to be a safe haven for mutants until something happened. If you didn't see the episode of Astro M in the Ritual series. So that was really cool to see. But no, I've been enjoying the title sequence. I did agree with our last guest from our first review of the X-Men episode 1 that I wish we had more guitar rhythm in the theme song. It was kind of weird that they didn't like amp up the guitar segment of the X-Men theme song, but I don't know. It's still rocking it, but yeah. Overall, I enjoyed the title sequence so far.
Now they did bring back, just to be clear, in terms of the voice acting, the only main character on the X-Men team that has a new voice is Jean Grey. Everybody else is back. Even Wolverine, although he sounds differently, that is the same voice actor that's doing Wolverine. He's aged, and they asked him to change the voice a little bit and whatnot to be more like I forget not Clint Eastwood. There's another. I
know Charles Bronson. They were saying
Charles Bronson. Yes.
Yeah. I read that too.
I don't mind it. It doesn't faze me. It doesn't bother me so far. But basically, where we're at with X-Men episode 2, I don't even have it pulled up yet. Andres, can you pull up the title for the episode?
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
It's called Mutant Liberation Begins, and it's a very poetic theme because that was something that Magneto was trying to do in the season finale of X-Men, the animation series in season 5. So it was very poetic title. I like it the title.
Yeah, and we're coming off episode 1 where we had the whole like reveal that off the attempted assassination of Professor Xavier, right? It turns out that in his will and testament, as Magneto says at the end of episode 1, essentially Xavier put him in charge of the X-Men, a la quasi, what happened, very mirroring the comics to some extent, right? There's a lot of heavy comic book accuracy in episode 1 and 2, probably more in 2. And basically, in episode 2, we start off directly right off episode 1 with what I really enjoy, which is them using the news, like that one news station that the MCU always uses, right?
Yes.
That they've used like for Captain America and shit and all that. And we start off with Magneto going out and saving human lives, right? And like the media reporting on that and whatnot, right? And segue off of that, just to be, to kind of streamline the storyline for the episode, and give us something to work with so I can bounce some questions off of these guys. Episode 2, Mutant Liberation Begins, basically in summarization, is while trying to live up to Xavier's legacy, Magneto is taken to saving humans and mutants alike and refraining from killing anti-mutant militants. Trustful of him, Cyclops and Jean stay to observe Magneto, while Rogue sympathizes with his struggles. When UN forces led by Valerie Cooper arrive at the Institute to arrest Magneto for his past terrorism, he surrenders peacefully, hoping to gain the X-Men and humanity's trust. During his trial at the UN headquarters, there's an assault on the building, and their leader is from the comics, the Executioner, attempts to shoot a deep power radiation blast at Magneto. Storm takes the hit for him. Magneto stops the assault, after which the UN grants him a pardon and discusses the possibility of integrating the mutant nation Genosha. Meanwhile, Jean goes into labor, and we'll talk about the really funny scene with her and Wolverine during that whole deal. But Jean goes into labor, and Rogue is forced to absorb an obstetrician's knowledge, which I thought was kind of a little bit interesting. When he refuses to deliver a mutant baby, Rogue delivers the baby. Jean gives birth to a son, whom she names Nathan. When Beast informs Storm that Executioner's blast depowered her permanently, she leaves the team to find new meaning in life. While discussing her decision, the X-Men are surprised by the sudden arrival of a woman who looks identical to Jean. So, as we kind of surmise, and in episode 1 already, we're getting into the whole Madeline Pryor plot, arc, basically, right? Of the comics, involving Mr. Sinister, who we know is going to be the main villain, right? Essentially of the show. So I'll start with you, Andres. Your first question: overall, what were your thoughts on X-Men episode 2? Coming right off watching it, I guess, right? Your thoughts, and then also if you want any contrast at all between episode 2 and 1 in terms of which was the stronger episode.
Sure. Yeah. So today I rewatched episode 2. I saw it back to back last week when it dropped on Wednesday, 2 weeks ago. Let me make that clear. And I think this was a superior episode than episode 1. I think this episode was fantastic. I mean, first up, reintroducing Magneto again, putting him in a new position, and plus a comic accurate direction from Magneto that we saw previously in the Chris Claremont run was fantastic. If you haven't read that Claremont made the plan to make Magneto to be the hero and take over Charles' school, which we see in this episode, which was really great. This episode was fantastic. I just love it. It just gets down to the heart and the beat of what the X-Men really is all about. And so I think this was a fantastic episode. And it just it pulls you in right away, and such a cinematic thing. It made me like this show a bit more. Like the animation I enjoyed the animation much more. The storytelling just reminds me so much from the original series, but at the same time modernizing it, which was really great. And yes, Jeff brought up the voice casting, which we didn't bring up last week, but my God, I love the voice casting. The actor who voiced Cyclops is actually a new actor because unfortunately the actor that voiced Cyclops in the original series passed away.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I need to, I just want to bring up, folks, that there's some actors they didn't bring back, but the, unfortunate Cyclops actor passed away, which was really sad to find out. But that actor, he is a spin image of the voice actor from the original series, and that's so impressive. And that's
Ray Chase is the actor that's voicing Scott Summers Cyclops, and Norm Spencer died in 2020.
Yeah, and he's doing such an awesome job of mimicking.
You're right. Good point.
Yeah, from the original voice actor, and he's the highlight of the series, which is great. And I'm very excited to talk about and the build up to the Madeline Pryor storyline was really fantastic. I love that they did a cliffhanger of that. So overall, I think episode 2 is awesome. Is amazing. It's a superior episode from episode 1. Just remember, episode 1 was just a reintroducing the world of X-Men in this universe, where this episode really takes push us into the storyline and stuff like that for this season. Really good.
Yeah, it really conjoins back to the original series more. You're right. Going to you, Jacob. Same question as I asked Andre, sir. Do you want me to restate it, or did you?
I get the gist of it. Here's the thing. I like the kind of the introduction on episode 1, and then to me, this is kind of more setting the stage here, because you're seeing the conflict once again with Magneto and the mutants, which feels like it's just a continuation in a little sense of its opening premise. I did think at the second half of the episode, it starts getting into a little bit more interesting themes with this, because obviously they're playing up to the relationship that Magneto has with Professor X, and him essentially trying to hold up his end of Professor X's last wishes, even though it goes against what he wants to do, because at this point he says openly repeatedly in this episode he pretty much just wants to destroy humanity at this point. But because he has a close relationship with Xavier, he's trying to at least hold up his end of the bargain with his friend. But the human characters are making it very, very difficult here, and I did notice a very interesting parallel, especially towards the end of this series, and we can kind of talk about this as we go on here. But yeah, I mean, I think it got better as they actually got the wheels moving on this one.
What did you? I had actually remarked off episode 1, Jacob, that I thought that the little bit we got of Magneto's voice acting seemed kind of almost a little bit effeminate to me. That was the vibe I kind of got, right? And I just want to point. No, the voice actor that did Magneto, when we first saw Matthew Waterson in episode 1, I remember Andres. I mentioned I thought his voice seemed kind of a little effeminate or whatever, whatnot.
You did.
I don't feel that way anymore. Now that we saw him deliver more lines in episode 2, I don't mind the voice acting with Magneto at all. I think it's pretty solid. And what I was going to ask you, Jacob, overall was I thought that the writing in episode 2 overall, not in the series in general, in the 2 episodes that I've watched, but especially in episode 2 and especially with Magneto, right? I felt like the writing is really strong. Like it's fucking A grade, man. Like as far as X-Men Animated goes, like I mean they're doing a great job for Magneto. Some of the stuff he drops during the the whole trial deal and all that and whatnot is almost like Shakespearean level type shit. What do you think?
Yeah, so if you know that, the whole setup here is ripped directly from the comics when, they bring Magneto in the same similar style here. I did have questions like initially about like the look of Magneto in this series because I was thinking, it looked maybe a little bit too modern, but it's basically a slight variation of what actually like existed like in the comics, so I don't really mind it like too much within context. But yeah, that was essentially what they were doing here. Like they were putting him essentially on trial and he's supposed to represent the mutant opposition to essentially peace on Earth with humanity here, and he goes in a great way where they're trying to portray him as a villain, and let's be very, very clear, he is a villain still at the end of the day, but he's pointing the finger essentially at humanity, saying that you're the reason why we can't have peace, and this is the reason why I don't want peace with you. Because even with the X-Men team, with Professor X team, they've done everything to try to save you, and you still revolt against them, and you still go against them. So it's like, why should I even pretend like there's any kind of like common ground between us at this point?
What do you think, Andres? I think that the writing that unfortunately Bo DeMaio is gone, but I mean he did a great fucking job so far as I'm concerned, dude. Like killing it with the writing, man.
No, it's been great. Like, I mean, first off, what I enjoy about this episode is they combine a very short like comic book run of Magneto, the trial of Magneto, and put it in this episode was really great. That was the thing. This is something a lot of people understand. What I like about the X-Men Retro series is they adapt the comic book runs from the 80s and the early 90s of the X-Men, and it was so cool. That's why I know about Days of Future Past and the Dark Phoenix.
The best X-Men, the Claremont run,
exactly. Exactly. If you don't know your X-Men stuff, Chris Claremont was the GOAT of comic books, dude. And it was so cool that they adapted this episode, which is nice because if you don't know what happened, season 5 did left off Magneto to be a hero, which we didn't see because it got canceled. So seeing this new show to pick up that storyline where Magneto will take over the school and be the leader of X-Men, it's really great to see in unfolding this episode, which I like. And it didn't feel rushed; it felt organic, and especially that scene where he takes his judge and that executioner was such a beautiful scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in this show. Him saying that I could crush you, point, but I'm gonna honor Professor X, my friend, and his wish. And the fact that he got the pardon, it just shows how Magneto is actually a changed man now, and he's trying his best to live, to continue his friend's work, which is nice.
I was thinking to myself, like, holy shit, where's this writing been in the MCU? Like, why is it just happening now? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why'd they save it for X-Men 97? And like, why the hell did they fire this Rob DeMeo dude? Like, I get it, he had an OnlyFans account or whatever, whatnot, and all that shit, but I still don't, to this day, don't know why they fired him. I don't get it.
And we're not gonna know about it, which is, I mean,
I just don't understand. I don't know what he did. Jacob, do you know what he did? I have no fucking idea.
It was gonna be free news to me too. So.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't fire people left and right, so it's just like, I'm just trying to figure out. I know he had OnlyFans, but like they knew about the OnlyFans, right? Like when they hired him.
So there must have been. It's hard because if they fired him, they must have scrubbed what. Like, here's the thing. That's why it's tough to gauge. They might have scrubbed what the reason why they fired him off the internet before making a big deal out of it. Because if everyone was all like, "Oh, he was fired for this," and then everyone goes and flocks to it, and then they see it, it could be negative backlash of the series. So internally, they probably scrubbed like what the issue was before making that announcement. So people will go like, "Oh, what was he fired for?" Then no one's actually like gonna know about it unless somebody involved, either the guy who was fired or the people that were in charge, comes out and makes a public statement to why that is. But yeah, it was definitely eye raising when it happened, because yeah, you don't fire a guy in that position like a week before your show starts unless something has gone very, very wrong behind the scenes.
Yeah, and he wrote season 2 already too. You know what I'm saying? Whatnot, right? And they're gonna keep, and they're doing it. So like, you know, like it's gonna come out. So it's just interesting to me that they let him go. Eventually, I guess it's gonna come out at some point. But going back, you know, to episode 2, I've got a question for y'all. I'll start with you, Jacob. Overall, Easter egg question here. What characters, what X-Men characters, villains, and heroes do we get in episode 2? List them all, and that you can think of, right? Outside of the main X-Men team, and then I'll go to you, Andres, if there's any that Jacob misses.
Those are villains that we get in episode 2.
All X-Men characters that we see in episode 2, whether they're villains or heroes, like that we see in some way, whether it's like Worf becomes the character, whatever, whatnot, right? Like,
yeah.
What overall, what other characters do we get from the X-Men universe in episode 2?
Well, we got Psylocke reference. We saw Colossus. We saw who else did we see? Jean Grey, obviously. Storm. We saw what's the face? Rogue, Gambit, Beast, Wolverine, Scott. Obviously, that makes sense. Don't remember if Jubilee was in this one or the other one, but we did see Jubilee in one hand. That's the ones that are coming like right off my mind right now. So yeah, if I missed any of them.
Jubilee was in this episode. So was Bishop. So was what was that one character from Mojo World that popped up, Andres? Lady Deathstrike, is that her name?
Yeah, it was Lady Deathstrike. You miss. And then there
with the claws and shit, whatnot, and all that. The one that when they had to change her. Remember with the first X-Men animated, they had to like adjust her wardrobe or whatnot because her titties were so big.
Yep. By the way, she didn't come from Mojo World. She was a longtime lover from Wolverine's past, and I say enhance her body into a cybernetic weapon. So just track that.
Oh yeah, you're right. She comes from that time period when when Logan was over in Japan with Mariko or whatever the fuck her name was, whatever, whatnot, and all that, with the hand and all that, with the clan and all that shit. That's an interesting time period of Wolverines. That's for another show, folks. But during the comics at one point, Wolverine, as they displayed in that Wolverine film, the second Wolverine film, or whatever, whatnot, he spent a lot of time in Japan. Like in the Japanese underworld and shit and whatnot, and like fucking with the hand and all that shit. Who do we? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The Morlocks. We saw the Morlocks here. We saw Leech.
Oh, you're right. We saw Leech and the Morlock and plus, yeah. Who else? Was there anybody that we missed? Oh, we saw Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, briefly. We saw it in the titles, but yeah, he is sort of mentioned here. And we see the actual dream.
Oh, I'm sorry. I bled over and watched a little bit of episode 3. My bad. I forgot earlier. I did. I watched a little bit of episode 3. My bad.
No worries.
I think that was it. That's all we saw. Yeah. And we saw baby Nathan Summers, baby Cable.
Yeah, exactly. Towards the end of the episode when she gave birth to Nate. Yeah, that's
Cable. What did you think, Andres, about things like things that are very like internally comic book X-Men orientated, like Cyclops asking Bishop, right? Questions about like about the timeline, and if there's ever been a timeline where Magneto's led the X-Men before and shit and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Because Cyclops has this mistrust that they use as a part of the story of episode 2. One of the themes of the side plots of the story is that Cyclops has this distrust immediately of Magneto.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that line. Actually, now the fact you brought it, it's very funny because that is true because it does become true in the Age of Apocalypse. You don't know, Magneto does become a leader to the X-Men during that timeline of the the dystopian future of the Age of Apocalypse comic book run. So that was really neat that they foreshadowed that, and plus it makes sense. I mean Cyclops is right because Magneto has been a foil to the X-Men for so many years since the first class, when him and her and Jean and Beast formed the X-Men. So it makes sense, and also I like that scene because now in contents of episode 3, it's funny that Jean say I do not gonna evade the Magneto's brain to see that he's telling the truth to reform. You don't know that's actually Jean. Like I think the actual Jean will do what Cyclops did tell her to do, and so it's funny that this Jean didn't do that. So it's very funny. But yeah, that's I really enjoyed that because Cyclops, despite him being this goody two shoe person, he is a very like he doesn't give a crap like who Magneto is. Like he is still the bad guy, and it takes a while for him to realize that Magneto is trying to change. Because he was surprised that Professor X gave him all this, the leadership of X-Men, not him, But so I really did that.
What do you think, Jacob? Do you think that it was a good move on I guess basically Bo DeMeo and Marvel Studios' part to use episode 2 as a way to sort of put the shine on Magneto, right? And really put the emphasis on him as a character.
For the time being, you could say yes, but the payoff is going to be what happens in the latter episodes, because the setup here is presenting Magneto in a much more different light and presenting him as a much more, I guess you could say, grounded character. But if they're just going to essentially turn away from this later on and go right back to same old Magneto, then I don't think the payoff is going to be quite as well, especially given the setup here. And it's kind of weird because they're trying to, like I said, kind of, I guess, redeem in some sorts Magneto and kind of shift focus on some of the other characters that are in here. So it really just depends on how this whole thing plays out here. I think there's a seed there that this could go in the right direction, but we have to see a couple more episodes to see where exactly this goes, because they could just end up going right back to the same thing, which would pretty much undo everything they did in this episode.
Well, what did you think, Jacob? And I'll ask you the same question, Andres, right after Jacob, drops his contribution. What did you think, Jacob, about the way that they handled the relationship between Eric Lensher and Rogue, right? In this episode,
I thought it was done pretty well. Like I said, it feels like because their story arc in the grand scheme of things, there's so much other things going on here, they're really just like a D subplot at this point, because there's far more important things going on with Magneto, with Storm. Obviously we'll get to that one here in a little bit. They played, obviously they were setting up an angle here with Scott and Jean Grey, which pays off later on as well. So yep. I mean, I don't have in mind like what they did with it. Like I said, at the grand scheme of things, it just wasn't that big of a subplot to the story. So it feels like they were really just kind of play up to like, hey, X-Men fans are expecting, this whole dynamic here with Rogue and God, why did I just blank on the dude's name?
Magneto, or
no, the other dude, the one.
Oh, Gambit.
Yeah, I said, like, I knew the guy's name, I just kept blanked on it all of a sudden. But yeah, I think they were playing off of that. It's like, hey, look, obviously we're doing a little bit of fan service with here because people want this relationship, and let's be honest, we haven't really had this relationship in any iteration of the X-Men movies up to this point. It's weird how we've had like almost 30 years of X-Men movies, and I don't even think we've had Rogue and Gambit actually share a screen in any of them, which is kind of odd to think about. Like, it's literally only like in the animated series that we've ever gotten this. How many opportunities have we had over so many decades with so many different writers and directors, and we still haven't got this up to this point?
Well, Marvel Studios is going to fix that. But what do you think, Andres? I really liked how they handled although it was a very small subplot to what was a very packed episode, and we are going to get into the next round of questions. We're going to talk about the depowering of Aurora. But what did you think of the way that they handled the Rogue Eric dynamic. And I only mentioned Eric because she's the only character that calls him by that name.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's another tidbit if you guys don't know about this. This was another big thing from the comic books. Like, actually, Rogue and Magneto did get together in the comic book. So it really was really cool to see that happening in this episode. And plus, I mean, come on. If you remember when you're a kid or, you know, when you used to watch the Retro series, you know, it was very soap opera. So the fact that they're going in this direction with these characters of Eric and Rogue and Gambit is really cool because they're doing this as such a soap opera thing. Like, I can see this as a storyline that you're going to do in the original series and general TV. So I really dug that they're doing that. So that's cool. And plus, as a comic book fan, the fact that it's from the comic books and they're actually doing it is really neat.
You gotta give Magneto credit. He's the only dude that can actually stick it to Rogue, like actually beat that shit up and whatnot, everything in real life, right?
Yeah.
And he's such a fucking stud, right? And he's such an OG. Magneto is, right? That he's
and
like,
obviously
Gambit.
Gambit doesn't like very much that he's the only one that can stick it to Rogue too, and that's
I know
a subplot for
I know Gambit's pissed, bro. He's like, oh shit, Magneto is giving Rogue the vibranium, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nah, seriously. Like, you gotta give Magneto props, man. Like, that motherfucker's got some serious self-control.
Yeah, I was shocked that he's able to hold Rogue's hand, which this was a big surprise to me. I was like, oh really? Can Magneto do that? Like,
that's the reason why they have a relationship. That's why I asked the question, is because it's the only reason why their relationship matters, really, is because of the fact that he's the only person that she can touch.
Yeah, which it kind of makes sense because compared to the live action one, like, Magneto is powerful. He can actually conduct electricity that could maybe block Rogue's ability to absorb his powers. That's the theory I'm thinking about. Because
I'm sure if Beast did a study on it, not everything, he would find out. He would say it was all bullshit.
Yeah. I was very shocked about that. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways Magneto is powerful. You know.
The emotional aspect of the episode that I talked about earlier in the private chat, Andres, is of course the depowering of Storm when she takes what I thought was really good writing and great storytelling. Of course, Storm would take the bullet right from Magneto. You know what I'm saying? And there's a great scene with her and what she thinks is Jean Grey, right? And what I guess probably the general audience that doesn't know about, never read the comics and never watched the original X-Men animated, probably just assumes that's Jean Grey, right? In episode 2, there's a good scene with her and Rogue, or with her and Storm, kind of sistering it out, right? Like, you know, and like Storm's like says a really good line about, no, you're being a mother or whatever, whatnot, you know, and all this shit and whatnot. I thought was dope.
Oh yeah.
But the Executioner basically depowers Storm, and they do a really great job of conveying Storm's emotion, of the whole ordeal right when it happens. And I love Magneto speech using her, like, you know, being like, look at what, you know, your shit did to, like, has done to us. You know what I'm saying? Well, not, you know, like cowering and afraid, right? Depowered and afraid, right? But it is emotional because she leads the team, and now in the comics she does lose her powers. She gets her powers back. I'm sure she'll get her powers back and come back to the team. But it was semi-emotional for me. You know, and I'll ask you, Andres, you know, and then you, Jacob, how did you feel about it? The whole situation with Storm. I thought she had a really great arc in the episode.
So
sad, but a great arc.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this episode is jam-packed with multiple comic book storylines from the X-Men comic books, which is so impressive. I brought up the Rogue and Magneto.
A rich episode to talk about. Yeah,
and that's really impressive. And the fact that they packed the storyline where Storm did lose her powers from the comic books, that's why the Mohawk came to be because she, started to lose her powers, and she's, that's how we got to that iconic Mohawk, is because she lost her powers in the comic books. And so it's really great, and plus it served purpose to the story, to give McNeil that speech, and so it was really powerful, and I like how we do it. And plus, we're gonna get two-parter of the storyline of the Storm losing her powers. If you pay attention to the titles, the next episode, let me pull up my notes here. The next episode is going to be Storm dealing with this, and then episode 6 is the part 2 of Life Death. So we're going to spend time with the storyline of her losing her abilities, and I think it serves a purpose to the storyline that we're going to see here. About it being accepted by the humans, and and this is how they want us to be. It's just be depowered. So I think it was so beautiful, and the way that the actress voice Storm, I think it's the same actress from the original series. Her performance is so wonderful, and her just trying to call the storm, anything from the weather. It's so sad, and she said she couldn't feel the breeze, and it's like, oh my god, it's happening, which is so sad. So I was very shocked that they did that, and just it just shows this show is not pulling their this is one thing I like about the show. Jeff, you brought up the MCU, not where's the storytelling. The fact that this show is not pulling they're not pulling their punches really shows that they're aiming high with the storytelling here, and that's that one scene I'm like, oh my god, they're actually going through this, which is great. So
that would be Allison Steele Smith that voices Ororo Monroe Storm.
Yeah, and was she voiced the character from the original?
She did, yeah. She voiced the original.
And look, I don't care what people say. She is the OG. She's the definitive version of Storm. That's who I think of the Storm. She brings that voice, and this was her best performance of that character in this episode, and it's incredible. When she told those judges to do what she say, and you say, "Don't think, just listen to what I'm saying, and you're gonna be safe." And that was such a great moment to see Storm. This is my Storm, not that Halle Berry. And unfortunately, I like the young actress that played her in the prequels, but
hey, don't make fun of Halle Berry. Her performance as Catwoman was Oscar worthy.
It's better than her performance in John Wick 3, but that's a whole other conversation.
Whoa. Okay. Well, no, I'm sorry.
I said it.
I like John Wick Chapter 3, and that was her best performance over Catwoman. I'm sorry.
I think John Wick 3 is the weakest about all of them. That's a conversation for
another question another time, folks. Anyway,
Catwoman is Catwoman is the kind of movie that you watch it and it causes you to have premature, what do you call it? Ejaculation issues or whatnot by the end of the
No, that would be Halle Bailey and Swordfish. That would be.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh my god, that's good.
Oh hey, I didn't. Hey, Halle Berry. Holly's got a set on her, man. Let me tell you.
Yep.
God hooked her up. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think, Jacob, about the Storm, her arc in episode 2?
Here's the thing with, and let me put it to you in this perspective, because I had to push back just a little bit. It is not that the actual execution of the angle didn't work. I think it did. However, what I'm fearing here is that they're using so many angles from the comic books, and they're just kind of breezing through them for the course of each episode, just to be hey, this is from the comics, and that's from the comics, and that's that's great to reference things from the comic books, but you're essentially going through 10 different storylines from the comic books in 2 or 3 episodes, when you're you can stretch those out to be more impactful as the story goes along. You don't have to kind of blow it off for a 5-minute segment of 1 30-minute episode, and then we never touch it again.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing you didn't watch fucking Rick and Michonne and seen that finale, man. You think they're rushing right now? You would not have liked the finale.
Well, there's desperation on the side of The Walking Dead. There shouldn't be desperation on the side of the MCU at this point. But they've done this with a lot of the movies and the TV shows here. It's they're in a position where they're trying to figure out, okay, where do we go next? Because we've blown off all the most important, most popular story arcs as kind of one-offs in the series of these movies here. Like, well, we've done, Infinity War, we've done the whole gauntlet, we've done Civil War already, we've already destroyed Asgard. It's like multiple characters have come and gone, a lot of story arcs have come and gone, and now they're like, okay, what do we do next? It's like, well, we've done everything, at least everything that people actually like care to see. Like, I don't know if anyone cares to see about any like recent MCU or Marvel products on the big screen here. So I like that they're referencing things that do have origin in the comic books. I just don't want them to blow through every interesting X-Men angle within one season, and then we're sitting here for the next one talking about, okay, where do we go next? And all of a sudden the people in the writing room's going
Well, that's a good point. Let's hope that this was something that they just did. I mean, I watched like half of episode 3 earlier today, right? After I watched episode 2, I just said, fuck it, let it run for a little bit. That's why I kind of, like earlier, I kind of actually got thrown off for a minute there and whatnot, and thought there were things in episode 2 that didn't happen. Let's hope that this was something that they're just kind of doing as in maybe a 1 episode, 2 episode arc, right? As sort of like a setup for whatever the actual real like storyline of the season is going to be overall with Sinister, you know what I'm saying, and Madeline Pryor. That's the direction they're going, right? With the season, I believe, is in the Madeline Pryor. I think they're going to settle right there, right? Because by the time we get to episode 3, I'm not, there's no spoilers on this because this is episode 3 is already out, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. Now. Yeah. It's already out. So we get full Goblin Queen Madeline Pryor in episode 3. By episode 3, she's full Goblin Queen. We get full Mr. Sinister reveal, right? Like, full on. So, like, what do you think? What did you think, Andres, of, for one thing, Rogue getting the abilities from the fucking doctor to give birth to, to Jean Grey's baby? That shit can only happen in an animated series, for one thing. Because that would not work in live action. I'm sorry. Like, that was funny as shit. I'm sorry, but that was funny. And then what was really funny was Wolverine when Madeline / Jean's like, Wolverine, it's coming, or he's coming, or whatnot. And Wolverine's like, who? Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Right? And Jean's like, no, the baby. And he's like, oh crap. That shit was hilarious, right?
Yes. Oh my god, that was my favorite. That was a perfect meme to put in the internet. That is like, they know what kind of show they're making.
Fuck you, Steve from Bumble. Fuck you.
Oh, you did that. Why?
That's the best meme ever.
No. The meme is when, like, was it Wolverine cut out the Jane and Cyclops thing that's been such an iconic meme. This was another meme that they did.
I've still got to get the clip of him saying, "I'll avenge you, my friend."
My friend. Yeah, these clothes pop up. Yes, that's another one. And of course, this is for your Morph.
This one's for you, Morph.
But yeah, so I mean, that sequence was so funny, and then the fact that she's able to like still use her powers while she's in labor was so funny when they were driving to the hospital. And I mean, I can see Rogue doing it in live action. It's just like how powerful is Rogue? Like, that's the thing about live action movies. They always like depowered so much of the powerful characters in live action sometimes.
I don't remember her powers ever working like that in the comics or whatnot, that she could gain the ability to give birth to a fucking baby and shit.
She gained. Well, her powers is absorbing people's minds and their skills, so she's able to do that. Like, that is from the comics. So I mean, so that wasn't really out the world. Like, look, the live action Rogue doesn't really do that because they depowered her so much in that movie. So it's just here. I know this Rogue is so powerful. She's able to do a lot of things. Like, she's able to take Captain Marvel's power. By the way, that's how she's. Is flying, by the way. She took all of Captain Marvel's powers, so she is a Omega level mutant. So
she's not an Omega level mutant.
I don't know. I'm just saying she's some level mutant, whatever you want to call it, But yeah, she
got her flying and her super strength and her durability from Captain Marvel, but she's not Omega level, bro. Storm is Omega level, right? Like Jean Grey is like Jean Grey, Phoenix level. Jean Grey is Omega. Magneto is Omega, but not Rogue. She's fucking powerful though. What do you think, Jacob? Did you enjoy the Rogue giving birth? I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the whole sentiment of the hospital rejecting her care as a mutant. I get where they're going with that historically, but still, wasn't that a little bit far fetched?
It was a little bit of a stretch, but then again, like I said, the whole theme of this episode is essentially humanity rejecting the mutants, and they're trying to essentially play it up in every angle. It's like, oh, the mutants can't even go and give birth at the human hospitals without providing injection, and it's like, okay, guys, you're laying it on just a little bit thick here. It's like, we get it. Like, let it go.
Hey, it was a stretch, and no pun intended, right, brother?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. She was doing a lot of stretching beforehand. That's how she ended up pregnant in the first place, right?
That's right. Cyclops gave her his optic blast saber or whatnot. Did you see it, Jacob? Did you see in the intro they played the episode from season 1 where Storm fights Callisto for the leadership of the Morlocks? And they use the lightsabers. She has the double bladed lightsaber like Darth Maul and shit. Did you see that shit?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's Disney, so that was absolutely a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the fact that they also own the Star Wars properties as well. So yeah, absolutely.
If they really were trying to like pull no punches and shit, Andres, they like back in the day they should have actually had them fight with knives and shit like they do in the comics. They use knives.
Yeah,
and shit, but not.
Like, what kind of knives? Are we talking about like the knives from like the Michael Jackson like Beat It video?
No, the kind of knives. No, the knives you'd expect Callisto to have in the sewers in the comics, like real big fucking like sharp like pirate looking knives and shit.
The machetes.
Yeah, right, Andres? Aren't they like big long fucking knives and shit? Whatnot?
Yeah. It was like machete or like a sword.
And Callisto like scars Storm a little bit and whatnot. Her face, she cuts her a little bit in her face and whatnot, and scars her and shit in the fight. Hell yeah.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, you just have to remember these Marvel shows were very censored. It wasn't like Batman the animated series.
Hey, where, X-Men Animated did a lot of adult themed shit, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like. Seriously, I mean, of course, it was the 90s.
I mean, it makes sense in the and not only that, but it makes sense in the context because they're marketing this towards the audience who grew up with the animated series, understanding that okay, well, if you grew up with the animated series that was actually on in the 90s, then you're probably in your 30s and 40s now. So it's like we can afford to be a little bit more adult with some of our themes and content versus what we could do back then when it actually was a kid show.
Well, that's actually what I was going to ask you next, Jacob, was what do you think? Put yourself in the if I don't know how often you put yourself in the lens of your typical general audience viewership member, right? Mm-hmm. That's rolling up in the X-Men 97, first time ever watching Marvel shit, right? Hypothetically, say, right? Never watched the Avengers movie in your life. You're watching X-Men 97, okay? From jump. You watched the first 2 episodes. You watched episode 2. If you're in that spot, do you feel like you're able to have a firm idea kind of what they've unpacked so far, or what the hell's going on, and like who these characters are, sort of, at least to some extent?
I don't know, because like I said, the original animated series was kind of a slow burn, and this one obviously doesn't have the time to craft that audience that one did. So there is a level of assuming that the people who are watching this are kind of already like somewhere on a level where they can understand exactly what's going on here, where we don't have to explain like too much to them. So it's weird to compare, because this one's essentially trying to like hit the ground running and then move forward. But if it does, here's the problem. It's like,
every TV. I don't mean to cut you off, but Jacob, every TV series that comes out and everything and whatnot, there's always got to be some people out there that have never watched the IP, right? And come in and roll up and like just watch the shit.
So that's what I was about to mention. So it's like, is this series, if that's true, if you one of those people, is this inspiring you to, I guess, like be more interested in this 97 series, or you're more interested, like, no, let me go back and watch the original series to see what all the hoopla was about. And then if you go back and you do that, does this series still hold up compared to that older series?
Okay, I think that's actually a really good question. And I think that's the kind of question that really has to be saved up and used like more episodes down the road than we've gotten so far, probably, right? I'd say I need more to kind of like, make that comparison, probably. And shameless plug, but Andres and I eventually will get back to reviewing X-Men animated at some point when we find time. We're back in season 1, Jacob. You can come back. I'll let you know when we're doing them again. But Andres, what do you think? In terms of mass general audience membership, right? People out there and whatnot that are rolling up on the X-Men first glance off what we saw in episode 1 and 2. If you put yourself in those shoes, do you feel like they're doing a good job conveying something that's worth sticking with?
Yeah. I mean, this show is very jam-packed with action and enough storytelling to keep your attention going, and like it's reaching its audience well. That's always important for TV shows to do, and so I think the show hasn't dropped a ball on that, because that's when a lot of shows always struggle to balance attention for the audience, and I think the show hasn't failed on that part. So it's doing the right job as a TV show, which is good. And plus it's introducing new audience about these characters. I mean, like, it's been 5 years since we had an X-Men related thing. So far they're doing a good job on keeping us engaged.
Okay. Now let me ask you, for basically your overall rating for Andres for X-Men 97 episode 2, and your kind of your general consensus, your general thoughts overall, and take as much time as you want and point out whatever you want about the episode.
Okay. This is a good one. I think I'll give this episode a 10 out of 10. I think it was a great episode. It's superior than the first season. The first episode. Let me check that back. It really jam packs awesome storylines and plot points for the comic books in a very engaging way, and it takes us to where I think this series is taking us for the storyline, Mr. Sinister and all that. So I'm very engrossed where we're gonna go, and I already seen episode 3, and I gotta say it's my personal favorite episode of the series. But I think this is top quality episode for this season. So it gave us everything we want to see in the X-Men universe. So that's my point.
Okay, that's all you got?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we talked a lot about this episode and all of that. So it's really tough to like give it a negative for me.
No problem.
But, I mean, and that's a good thing. The fact that this show hasn't dropped the ball, which is great. I mean, we have 10 episodes. We're already going into the 3rd episode next week. But yeah, so it's I'm really loving this show. So I have no complaints so far.
Okay, same question to you, Jacob. And again, take as much time as you want with episode 2.
I give it a solid 7. I think because looking further ahead, I think there's obviously an avenue that's the next episode will actually be a little bit better than this one. So I'm gonna temper my expectation with this one right now. It's a solid 7. I think they did a good setup here, and now let's say when it comes to a good setup, they have a good payoff as well. So it at least keeps you interested to see, okay, where exactly are they going with this? Because there's a lot of villains floating around this whole series right now. So you're gonna want to see if they can find a way to mesh this all together so that it makes sense and it doesn't seem like it's just a cluster and you're just throwing things into a pot and seeing what sticks, or if you're actually going to be moving forward in a coherent direction. But no, I think this one did a pretty good job, and I like where they're going with this one so far. So I think this one is a good step in the right direction. I'll give it like a 7 out of 10.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9.5 probably. I'm going to save my first 10. Since we're only in episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the thing, because if you go 10 now, then like the next episode's even better than this one. Then you gotta.
I'd rather save it. I want to drop it. I do, but I'm not going to. I'm going to wait. But it's a damn near fucking impeccable fucking episode, man. It really is. I'll take my minute finally, and just say that I really enjoyed the hell out of it. For animation to give me any kind of emotional experience from it. Right. Mm-hmm. Of course that helps to love the source material. Right. And you have to know it. Right. You have to know the characters and whatnot. It's gotta be something that it's in your heart to begin with. Like the X-Men comics is for me. Cause like I read Chris Claremont when I was a kid, and like, young, like real young, reading X-Men comics, like, I'm not old enough. I'm too young to have really read like when Magneto, the run of the Uncanny X-Men, when Magneto led the team. That was like in the late 70s, early 80s, I think, around the episodes, probably in like the 220 to like 240 range, or 250 range. And I wasn't watching them at that point yet. I picked up the X-Men probably for the first time around in the Uncanny X-Men range, probably around maybe the 270s mark. And I read them loyally over episode 300 and then beyond. And then, of course, I followed the self-titled X-Men comic that they spun off of when they broke the team into the blue and the gold team. And they had the Uncanny X-Men was the gold team, as Andres and I have talked about before on the X-Men animated reviews. The X-Men team that we see in the animated series is based off the blue team, right? That was in the actual self-titled X-Men comic. That was probably my favorite X-Men comic, was the self-titled. And that's where that's where that's where they drew off of, where Jubilee's prominent and all that, whatnot, this is a great episode. I agree with you, Jacob. I don't like seeing big, huge comic book storylines that are meaningful and remarkable and like, really big to people, and to readers and whatnot, everything, and to the source material that should be used or played out across the whole season of a show, being, jam-packed, 5 or 6 different storylines,
one-off,
up into one episode and whatnot, and all that, just to seize, off that one opportunity. But I overall, I feel like for what was 35? What was the 35-minute episode at the longest? Right? They packed a lot into that bitch. And they did a great job of making sure that, everyone was involved. We got some Morph, right? We got some good Morph. Morph's always good. We got some good Wolverine, right? Good Rogue, good Magneto. Though that we didn't really get. Oh shit! We didn't get Andres, the pop culture guy. He's gone. He's bounced. He's like, fuck it, I'm out. He dropped his rating and shit, whatnot. He's gonna go eat.
Just go deuces and left. Didn't even bother to say goodbye. What I'm working on next week.
He's moving out of the next project. I'm sorry, sir. We thought you took off to move on to your next project or whatever, whatnot.
No, I don't know what happened. I think Magneto's messing up my ear now.
Oh, was Magneto's electronic ability that allows him to touch Rogue?
Yeah, no, his master. His master of magnetism is like affecting our live stream.
What the fuck does the power of magnetism, whatever? What the fuck? How the fuck does that make you allowed to be able to touch Rogue?
I don't know. I was questioning that. I was like, how is
that makes about as much sense as how the fuck Rick used that grenade earlier, whatnot, with those walkers and shit, whatnot, and survived that shit.
Yeah, I know.
It's the power of magic.
You should have saw it, Jacob. Rick exploded a fucking grenade in his hand or whatever, basically, right? Like, because he got swarmed by walkers and he had no weapon, right? Somehow he fought them off. Like he lost his arm, right? He cut his arm off in the first episode, right? So he's like, in the comics, he only has one arm now. He somehow hand-to-hand fought the walkers for like 5 minutes and shit, and then he explodes a grenade and like blows them all up. right? And he's
So is he
perfectly.
like
And
is he like Majin Buu now or Cell? Is that the way
I
that
mean,
we're
he was
going with this?
he was just shook off it. He just walked it off like nothing even happened. I'm like, okay.
Just start playing like a rhinestone cowboy as he going through these horror like going
It
on.
surprised me.
Sure, why not?
I was shocked, man. We talked about it earlier. Usually, The Walking Dead don't do shit like that. Give them props for that. Like they don't usually do stupid like way out there like fucking type shit. But they did it fucking today, man. Or yesterday, whatever, with that finale with that
Times
remain.
are hard, I guess.
Anyways, folks, that's it. We're done. We're gonna plug out of here and get the hell out of here. We're at the 2-hour mark. Thank you to Jacob from Society Reviews, right, for coming on and joining us and whatnot and jamming out this recap of X-Men 97 episode 2. Jacob, I'm gonna plug you out and then I'm gonna plug Andres out and we're gonna get the hell out of here. What do you want me to pull up first, sir? Your YouTube channel or your X Twitter?
Do the YouTube channel.
All right, no problem. And I'll send it over to you, and you can go ahead and tell us about Society Reviews.
Yeah, so Society Reviews got a lot of content, especially this week. I actually got quite a bit of content coming out because last weekend we did a retro rave on old 80s and 90s Nickelodeon, and we've cut it up into segments. We're going to be posting all of those segments over the course of the next 2 weeks. So we did an episode today entitled the 80s Nickelodeon game shows, which goes all the way back to like the Outlaw days. They didn't know exactly what they wanted to put on their network, but they just threw anything they possibly could. Some bad, some really bad, and that was what's on there. Now we have some other stuff coming up this week. Tuesday nights at 9 is the Ballroom Podcast. It's our big podcast of the week. We have episode 93 coming up tomorrow night. We'll have some things to talk about there. And then Sunday nights is my Bibleins podcast. So I did an episode last Sunday night. We'll have one every Sunday night at 7 p.m. So that's what we got coming up there.
I like this shit, man. You got to have me over as a guest. I like some of these topics, dude. This is great.
Oh yeah, like tomorrow we're covering the whole Shakira situation. Caitlin, that was her name, Caitlin Clark, the Iowa basketball player. We're talking about her tomorrow. Some guy who just hosted SNL just made like one absolutely stupid claim after another, and then we'll also review Godzilla and Kong 2. So yeah.
Yo, what's up with how's Cheryl Swoops gonna fucking say that black people can't be racist? Is she a goddamn dumbass?
Yes, if you listen to her talk, she is clearly not a
I mean,
bright
I know she's got a gap in her teeth, like she got that big gap in her teeth and shit, and whatnot, and all that. But I didn't think she was that stupid, though.
No, yeah, you were severely underestimating her sheer stupidity.
Well, that is like just that. I'm just surprised. I thought people were over saying that, like black people were done saying that shit. That shit is stupid as fuck.
No, not even the slightest.
Jesus Christ, man. Anyways, that's just shocking. Yeah, man. Listen. Put me on the roster over on Society Reviews to come on for a guest spot because I'm down to mix it up, bro. Like we talk about some crazy shit over here on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, but we're not fucking with some of that shit you're obviously over there on your shit. Those are interesting topics I want to get in on.
I mean, if you want to be on tomorrow's show, there's a spot open. So,
oh shit, what are you covering?
I just told you we're covering Shakira talking about Barbie. We're going to talk about Jamel Hill talking about Caitlin Clark, and then we're going to be reviewing Godzilla and Kong 2. So
I haven't seen Godzilla. Yeah, I saw you mention Godzilla and Kong 2. I haven't seen it yet. But we'll talk after the show, whatnot, everything, right? And remind me on what your show schedule is, and we'll link up off that and whatnot. And maybe next week I can come on.
All right then.
No, most definitely. Andre's pop culture guy, sir. I see that you are, sir. You are zeroing in on the 1,000 subscriber mark, sir. Yes. You are getting there.
I'm getting there. Thank you, Arrow. Yeah, I'm up to 919 subscribers, which is crazy.
Oh, and you stole our logo again.
Yeah. Oh my god. Why? Nah, that's my logo. So hey, everyone. Tonight I'm gonna post a April Fool's joke video to honor, yesterday. I've been a little busy this week. Easter has happened, so so this week got a couple content. This Sunday live stream review. Me and Jeff are gonna do Captain America: The Winter Soldier on April 7th. I'm gonna move up the time to 9:35.
You should ask Jacob if he wants to come on for that.
Yeah, now you put me in the spot again, just like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, no. I'm happy to have someone to join to do the review. So but yeah. So I want to thank everyone from the NCU Bleeding Edge community for helping me hit that mark this year. Please help me and Cyber to hit that mark in 2024, the 100,000 subscriber mark, whatnot. But yeah, and plus I seen Godzilla Con, the new Empire, this week. Actually, I saw it on Sunday, Easter, with my mom, and I gotta say, we loved it. It was awesome.
Uh-oh.
Check it out, please. So yes.
See the stupid TubeBuddy shit? My dumbass actually decided to let TubeBuddy be on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And this is the crap it shows you, whatever, whatnot. Don't ever do that. I'm telling you right now. Little advice from TrueKnowledge over here at the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. Do not sync your TubeBuddy to your fucking YouTube channel. It sucks. I'm telling you right now, it blows. It's hard to get rid of once you actually have it on there. It's a bitch. But no, sir, you were on your way to 1,000. You were getting there. You could have one big push, right? And you'd be ready to go. I forgot we were doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Sunday. What time are we doing it?
I'm gonna do it at 9:35. Just like
okay, 9:35. That's better than 10.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
Sounds great. All right, folks. We are out of here. Thanks to Jacob. Thanks to Andres. We love all of you out there and whatnot. We appreciate all of you. God bless you. We will see you on Wednesday for Shogun Chapter 6 or Friday for Magnolia, 9:35 p.m. Eastern, 6:35 p.m. Pacific. Next Monday, we're going to be back and that's been 97, episode 3, and back talking about the finale of The Ones Who Live, talking about Daryl Dixon, the shitty Dead City, piece of shit, season 1 of Dead City, and talking about the whole series of The Ones Who Live and whatnot, everything, and our thoughts about that and whatnot, since we got a little bit short on it tonight. We'll talk to y'all later. Take care. See you next time. Peace.
'Cause I'm about that.